Hello, I just wanted to put together a short video recapping my win of the 2013 Ohio Bass Nation Chiefs Cup Classic held on Buckeye Lake this past weekend. The OBN Classic is a year-end tournament for anglers who have fished at least 3 or 4 regular season events. The winning boater and co-angler will be awarded the last 2 spots on the 2014 state team. As most tournament fishermen in Ohio know, Buckeye Lake is one tough nut to crack in the fall. Buckeye is notoriously stingy in the fall, and this year was no exception. So that is how I started preparing myself for this event. I pre-fished the lake one day before the official off-limits began. Just knowing that it was going to be a grueling event forced me to focus on the little things. More about that in a little bit. Going into the tournament, I had 3 areas of the lake that I was going to concentrate on in the official practice period. I only pre-fished 1 practice day. Though I did not catch any fish in practice, my confidence was still very high. I knew if I was committed to those areas, I could figure something out instead of running all over the lake. The first area I headed to on day 1 was the channel leading into Heron Bay, which had a large lily pad field that looked very healthy. It also had schools of shad right on the pad edges. And finally, the water was fairly clean and devoid of the blue-green algae bloom that was occurring all over the lake. Flipping a beaver-style bait with a half-ounce weight was not working, and I struggled for about the first 3 hours. So I picked up the trolling motor and headed to my second stop, the rocky bank on the main lake side of Fairfield Beach. After about 45 minutes and no bites, I moved to the third area. I went back to Leib's Island Ramp and started fishing from the bridge to the Millersport Channel area. Finally, about 11 o'clock, I caught 2 keepers in short order. But I knew this area was going to be fished hard as boats were coming and going. I left this area and went back to the pads around 12 o'clock. The little things I was talking about earlier? One was turning off all of my electronics and using the trolling motor at its lowest possible setting. The fish appeared to be stationed right on the edge of the pads, so I took extra care not to disturb them. And the other little adjustment I made was changing my bait selection to a 1/8 ounce tungsten weight with a locally hand-poured plastic bait, which I believe is called a cut bait, in black with gold flake, only available at Bob's Outdoor Supply in Newark, Ohio. It kind of looks like a solid tube bait, if you will. That quiet entry and slow gliding fall seemed to trigger the fish better as I was able to put 5 keepers in the boat. And the third thing was, I really focused on not losing the tournament the first day. By that I mean I needed to catch some fish in order to be in the hunt at the end. At the end of day 1, I was in the lead with 7.57 pounds. Day 2 dawned with me picking up my partner for the day, Danny Ryan, who was in first place in the co-angler division at the end of day 1. On day 2, there was no question where I was going to spend the whole day. So back to the pad edges we went. I stopped the boat a little farther out away from the pads and we eased our way in. What we found when we got there was the bass were very active chasing the shad. Things could not have been better set up than they were now. In the first half hour or so, I picked up 3 keepers, which settled me down and really allowed me to focus on each flip the rest of the day. By the end of the day, I had 8 keeper fish. Danny was only able to get 1 keeper in the boat. I weighed in 8.47 pounds on day 2 for a total of 16.04 pounds and was able to hold off Todd Bunner and Eddie Levin for my first state level win. I'd made the state team way back in 1982, and now 31 years later, I made it again. By the way, my partner also qualified for the state team by coming in second place. Nick Leonard, who won the co-angler division, had double qualified for the team, allowing Danny to move into the final co-angler position. One final note here. The OBN anglers are first-class sportsmen as witnessed by Danny and I. Several anglers came into the area we were fishing, namely Brian Kotz, Brian Maylott, and Mark Mientel, saw us fishing and immediately gave us the space to fish and left. To them I say thank you. That was bass class.